This is going to be a picture quality comparison between a CRT, the plasma TV, LG C1 OLED, and an IPS gaming monitor. I have the CRT at 100 Hertz, and I still get flickering. There's no way I can get rid of that flickering on the recording. I have the plasma TV at 60, the LG C1 at 120 Hertz with OLED Motion Pro medium and max out brightness. I'm gonna show you the settings I have on the LG C1 OLED and on the plasma, and this is an IPS gaming monitor, and I have the brightness very greatly reduced. I'm also gonna show you the settings I'm using on the monitor. So I have to reduce the brightness on the IPS, otherwise the black levels are trash. Well, the black levels are very bad anyway, but that's the best I can do. Tell me which one's better. For me, it's a no-brainer. The plasma is better. A no-brainer. I mean, it's not even close. But of course, I'm going to change the C1. I'm going to turn off that Motion Pro, so you don't think I'm trying to, underplay the, let me find the controller remote. So you don't think that I'm trying to, underplay the C1. The reason why I have OLED Motion Pro Medium is just to make a fair comparison with the plasma, because the persistence of the plasmas is 4 milliseconds. So the LG C1 with OLED Motion Pro Medium has 4 milliseconds of persistence. So for me, that is more of a fair comparison. The LG C1 looks much better in motion with this OLED Motion Pro Medium. But I'm gonna turn it off so you don't see, you don't think that I'm trying to underplay the C1. And let me show you the settings I'm using on the C1. See, I have all the dimming off on the LG C1, and on top of that I have module HDR on the service menu. So that gives you 400 nits, up to 400 nits full screen brightness. I measured 330 nits. So I don't get 400 nits, but I don't have a colorimeter or anything like that. I just measured with a cell phone app. It's like 330 nits, but still very good. You see, brightness max out, 97, gamma 2.2. Those are the settings that I use to play, and still the plasma looks brighter. Look at that. The plasma is brighter than the C1 max out. Look at the difference. This is brighter. Wow. Of course, the CRT is the dimmer display, is the dimmest. And the LCD can get brighter, but then the black levels are trash if I increase the brightness. I'm also gonna show you the settings of the IPS. And it's a shame, there's no way I can get rid of that flickering on the CRT. I tested 75 Hertz, 85, 100 Hertz, and it still flickers. So with 100 Hertz, it flickers less. But the CRT still looks very good. Compare that CRT with the plasma. It is dimmer. The brightness on the CRT is on 0. So I get the best black levels. So the CRT can get brighter. I will show you. Let's compare the brightness here in this shot between the plasma and the OLED. Very similar. And that's the OLED absolutely max out. Like there's no more brightness that I can push. And it's like the plasma. Incredible. And the plasma is brighter actually. Look at that. This is absolutely insane. I will show you the settings on the plasma, on the CRT, and on the IPS too. Let's take a look at this shot that is very bright. Very high APL here. And the plasma is just a tiny bit brighter. So let me show you the settings I'm using on the plasma. So you see, it's a Panasonic Viera TCP 42S1. See picture. I'm on game mode. Contrast 91. So if I increase it more, I would be clipping the whites. Brightness, this is like the OLED light. This is not the black level. There are other plasmas where brightness is the black levels, but not here. Color 42, that is to trying to make it closer to Rec 709 on SDR, because the plasma goes beyond Rec 709 and then it looks overly saturated. So I have to reduce the color saturation. Color temperature in normal. And I have limited on the NVIDIA control panel and limited here on the TV. Black level, dark. Those are the settings I'm using on the plasma. And then let me show you on the IPS gaming monitor. This one I am reducing the brightness big time because it's the black levels that are just trash if I don't do that. See, brightness 15, contrast 85. Gamma 2.2, color temperature normal. That's what I'm using. And on the CRT, I will show you. Let's take a look at the brightness here between the OLED and the plasma. I think the OLED is brighter here. The OLED looks brighter here on this shot. Well, they are very close. Very close. So the CRT, let me show you, because the CRT I can also increase the brightness, but then the black levels, you see, brightness 0. No brightness setting at all on the CRT. I can increase this a lot and get more brightness, but then you see the black levels, they're trash. If I do that, absolute crap. The black levels, they're just garbage. This CRT is not a very good CRT or anything like that. This is a crappy office monitor. This is not a high-end CRT. And then I have the contrast max out. That's the best quality I see, in my opinion. So those are the settings. Let me get rid of this on the OLED. Okay, look at that, man. This is just beautiful. I can be watching this all day long. Look at that. Wow. And the CRT looks fantastic too. Look at that. CRT is looking good. It's just less, I cannot get the same brightness level, but on a dark room, the CRT looks beautiful. But look at that plasma OLED comparison right there, man. I love the plasma. $25. Like, how? $25, man. If you don't have $1,000 to drop on an OLED, get a plasma TV, man. It's a no-brainer. There's no competition. Nothing. You cannot buy a better TV for the money. And for gaming, it's fantastic. Fantastic, because you can play at 60 frames per second. And it looks like 240 FPS at times. If you move the camera too fast, it actually doesn't look that as 240 FPS. So here the saturation on the OLED is higher. It looks more red. The OLED looks more red. The plasma looks more like yellow, incandescent yellow. Here the OLED looks brighter. A stutter fest. This video is 4K 60 FPS, by the way. And it is not copyright on YouTube. And I'm recording at 30 FPS. The reason is I wanted to lower the shutter speed so the CRT doesn't flicker that much. So the other thing I'm going to do here, let me do this. I'm going to change the shutter speed so you see how the plasma and the CRT start flickering, and the OLED too. So I'm increasing the shutter speed 1/125, 1/180, 250, 1/350. You see how the plasma changes the color. 500, 750, 1000, 1500, 2000, 3000. Now look at the CRT. CRT and plasma. This is the most interesting thing here. Reducing the shutter speed. 4000, 8000, 1200. You cannot see almost anything. You see a CRT is like trying to draw a line. So this is a shutter speed of 1/300. 12,000. You cannot see anything almost. I need a lot of brightness, and I would need, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to increase the ISO. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to increase the ISO. Yeah, I forgot that. Now I can do it. Let's see. 1/1500. 2,000. 3,000. 4,000. 1/4000 shutter speed. 1/6000. The OLED, you see the OLED also you can see like a faint line on the OLED. See, the OLED also flickers a little bit even as a sample and hold display. Actually, let me turn on Motion Pro so you see the flickering on the OLED too. I'm gonna use OLED Motion Pro medium, or even, yeah, medium. Let's do medium. Okay, you see the OLED flickering now with the medium. So 1/6000, 1/8000. Look at the CRT going crazy. You see, it's like a line. It's like a line. The CRT is drawing like line by line. That's why the motion clarity is so fantastic. Look at the plasma. The plasma does something completely different. The plasma flashes the entire screen. We have another shutter speed, 1/12,000. See how it looks. Look at the OLED. The flickering in the OLED is not very visible. Look at the CRT, 1/12,000 shutter speed. Let me focus on the CRT. I'm gonna go one by one. CRT, flickering madness. It's actually very stable. You see how it is going slowly down with this shutter speed? The flickering is going slowly down. Interesting. See the plasma? Plasma looks so weird with this shutter speed. 1/1200, 1/8000, 1/4000. It just looks weird. If I move the camera, see some lines. The plasma is using dithering and is flashing the entire screen. 1/12,000. Let's see the C1. The C1 just disappears. With that Motion Pro, it just disappears at 1/12,000. Let me change it to high and see if it is more visible. OLED Motion Pro high. Okay, let's see now. The shutter speed, 1/4000, 6000, 8000, 12,000. I cannot even see the TV with that shutter speed. It disappears. 1/12,000. The CRT is the most interesting. You see the lines being drawn. Plasma is just weird colors. And the C1 is just, the screen is disappearing completely. That's weird. Okay, let me change it back again. Okay, change the ISO to 50. Shutter speed 1/30. White balance 6600K. So yeah, let me know what you think. I think the plasma is the best. It is brighter. Of course, now I have Motion Pro medium or high. I have Motion Pro high right now. But you know, the LG C1 with OLED Motion Pro high gives you an incredible motion clarity. It's just fantastic. It's like playing a game at 312 FPS, which is absolutely amazing. And it looks so clean. There's no artifacts, no inverse ghosting, no nothing. It's just perfection in movement. But it is dimmer than the plasma when I do that. So in medium, this will be a more closer comparison because it's 4 milliseconds of persistence like the plasma, and the plasma is brighter for sure with those settings. But I would say the OLED is so, the responsiveness, the gray to gray, is so much better on the plasma that I can tell you for sure, even without black frame insertion, just 120 hertz, 120 FPS, the OLED looks better when you move the camera faster, even when the persistence is higher. 8.3 milliseconds versus 4. But the responsiveness of the pixels, at least on my plasma TV, is not as good. So I would say with low, for sure the C1 is better than the plasma in motion. And it looks better too. It is brighter with these settings that I'm using sometimes. See, it is brighter here in this shot. But sometimes the plasma looks brighter. I don't know why. It might be the gamma settings. But I don't think that the plasma gamma is like 2 or 1.9 or something like that. Because when I change the C1 to gamma 1.9, it looks like trash. It doesn't have the depth that the plasma TV has. So the plasma is brighter. It's just what it is. It's off, Motion Pro off now. See, the plasma. Here the C1 is brighter, for sure. C1 is brighter here in this shot. Let's see if we get. This looks very good. Yeah, the C1 here is brighter. This part is brighter than the plasma. They both look beautiful. But I just love the way the plasma look. I just love it. The incandescent. Look at that. That's where the plasma just, wow. Those yellow colors, that's where the plasma just separates and it just looks beautiful. More natural, incandescent. And yeah, but they are very close, man. Very, very close. But to get this result on the C1, this is not out of the box. You cannot get this brightness out of the box. This is me going to the service menu, deactivating TPC and GSR, turning on module HDR on SDR to get the maximum full screen brightness. This is not what you would get out of the box.